One in a million to one villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen, I'll end up melting the ceiling.
All right, folks, I'm here with the one and only Luke Russell. For y'all who don't know, I had him on the show a while back. I actually participated on his show on YouTube. I'm gonna let him tell you a little bit about that, but we're gonna actually get into a conversation today about the Yin Yang symbolism. So we're gonna jump into that, but first I want to just thank everybody for watching. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, subscribe button. And this show right here is brought to you by the good people of Patreon who've actually gone over to the Javier show at patreon.com and became a member. So appreciate y'all so much. Luke, what's going on? Please tell the people a little bit about yourself, anything that you want to let them know, and then we're going to jump full into this conversation.
Yeah, so I run my own little YouTube channel. It's called The Happy Russell Journey, and it's essentially me trying to figure out everything, and it's a very slow, painful process. My mind's been changed multiple times, partly by you as well, Javier, by that talk about nihilism. I'm a nihilist now, dude.
Oh, really? Congratulations. Welcome to the home team, man.
Feels good.
We can get a little bit into that. I'll definitely be interested to know how you actually came to that conclusion after we had that last conversation. But finish telling people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, I talk with all sorts of people. I've been speaking with people that are interested in spirituality, people that are interested in philosophy. I've been debating people that are religious, people that are atheists. Just trying to pick to see what's going on. I've got some interesting conversations coming up that I actually had with some Mormons where we actually agreed on a lot of things, which I didn't expect.
Wow.
So,
oh wow, definitely looking forward to that.
I talked to absolutely everyone and anyone.
Well, yeah, you are a free thinker. I consider you to be the open-minded person. That's why we're going to have this conversation together. And, you know, this brother here, he definitely will hit my phone up constantly because he's trying to wrap his brain around some deep, deep subjects, mostly on the line of philosophy. And he hit me up and talking about symbolism, and you were really heavily looking to the yin and yang, the yin yang symbol, correct? And you say you've been doing a lot of digging.
That's right. So
yeah.
So I think I can put this forward. So a while ago, you did a video back when you said that you were going to meditate over, not over philosophy, over politics, and you were going to see how that experiment ran with you. And I'm going to go ahead and make the claim that I actually believe that you could have a really good time meditating over the Yin Yang symbol.
Really? What makes you think that?
So, well, first of all, what do you know about the symbol so far? Let's break it down. Let's break it right down.
Well, from what I know about the Yin Yang symbol, I believe it's Chinese in origin. There's the white side and the black side, and each side they form a circle. And on the white side, there's a black dot on the white side, and on the black side, there's a white dot, which is supposed to represent the balance of life in a sort, give and take, push pull, and in each chaos and order, and within those realm between those two, there has to be a little bit of chaos within order, I guess, and a little order within chaos for it to properly function. So we're always wrestling between these two stages.
That's it. So one of the translations that I've actually heard for the symbol as well, chaos and order, is one of my favorites. But the other one is potential and action. So what this symbol is I think it does an amazing job at symbolizing our perceived reality. So when we're talking about yin yang, we've got to remember that it's always going to be relative. But it's an ontological symbol. So what it does is it shows us how reality is kind of working. So when we're talking about potential and action, this can be taken to all sorts of different realms. So yin is always the potential. So yin is the dark one, which is feminine, it's potential, it's recessive, passive, creative. And then the yang is the masculine, the light, the active, the logical, let's say, as opposed to the creative. So this can go deep into archetypical stories as well. So if we're looking at the princess and the prince, going by what we've just said there, we've got the princess, which is the yin, which is the, let's say, hidden potential, untapped potential. And then you have the archetypical prince that is the yang element that will come in and essentially bind these things together. So that's sort of like an archetypical representation of the yin yang symbol. And it's interesting to look at this throughout different aspects of life as well.
Yeah.
You've got it in the sperm and the egg. You know, the egg in the yin, the potential, the sperm in action that unlocks that potential, giving you life. And then we've also got the order and chaos, politics, left and right. And before I get too involved, I wanted to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, definitely checking it out. Listening to you to make sure I'm getting a full picture of exactly what it represents. I'm always a little careful when we start to represent things from a female and male perspective, because just how sensitive people are.
Feminine and masculine.
Yeah. Just how sensitive people are in today's time, versus, well, why does the woman have to be this and why does the man have to be that, right? But that's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to explain is, you're breaking up a little bit, Luke. But I think you're back now.
Yeah, no, so are you.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well,
hopefully it's probably me.
Yeah, I got mine jacked into this Ethernet, and so far I haven't seen any problem with my side. But what I would say is the reason that I think the yin yang is not really such a great symbol is because chaos is overwhelmingly more present within the universe, within the world, than order is. If we would be honest, that yin yang would be mostly dark, and there would be one dot of white. And if it was a true representation of life. But I'll let you go ahead and respond.
Well, yeah. So first I want to touch on the feminine and masculine, because I don't want to get in trouble either. It's not female and male energies, it's feminine and masculine. And part of the symbol is to understand that there is a harmony and a balance, especially when we're looking at it from a relative point of view. So within myself, there are feminine and masculine aspects. And if we look at society today, we can say that a large part of men have been taught to repress certain feminine parts of themselves. You know, don't cry, you little bitch, certain things like that. So part of it is integrating these things as a whole. And that's not to then make hyper feminine men, because again, that's going to be an imbalance. It's balancing between the two. It's letting men cry and then having a go at kickboxing after, you know, whatever they want.
Well, I mean, that's one separate issue. And I don't want to jump off go ahead. I don't want to jump off on the male.
And then
go ahead.
Yeah, and then we talked about the balance between the universe and how the universe is leaning towards chaos. We could say it's the entropy of the universe, right? Like it's constantly becoming more disordered. Well, that's a much broader perspective, and we don't really know what's going to happen, you know, billions and billions of years from now. We don't know if there's multiverses. We don't know what reality is. All we can say is that we can see this reality and what we can experience right now, and that does contain within it order and chaos. Perhaps there's more order, perhaps there's more chaos. The thing about the Yin Yang symbol is that it is constantly changing. So that's the main thing to take away. It's not that they're always equal, it's that they're always in a state of change.
Well, I think that
And so,
I
for
think
example,
okay, I was gonna say I think that chaos is always much more of a force than order. There's chaos everywhere we look. Um, the universe is chaotic. There's no pattern to life. Most planets don't hold life to it. Stars explode and die constantly and destroy whole galaxies. We know that the universe is going to come to a end. I mean, there are so many things. Most of the Earth that we live on is uninhabitable. It's just so many things you can point to say, well, why would we think that this little bit of order can definitely compete with the amount of chaos that there is within the universe?
well, you've actually hit the whole the biggest duality that there is, which is existence and non-existence. And ultimately, what these dualities imply is that you can't have one without the other. So you don't get life without death. You don't get self without other. You don't get left without right. So when we're talking about any of these dualities, it is one duality implies the other. So when we're talking about chaos being overruling, yeah, you can say chaos is overruling. Stars are exploding, galaxies are being destroyed. But after every star explodes, it comes back and creates a new order. We are only here on this earth now because our star has exploded, was it 2 or 3 times so far, and created the minerals necessary for there to be life to evolve. So that chaos was necessary in order to give birth to life.
Yeah, but the life that it gave birth to doesn't even compare to the amount of destruction it caused, to the amount of life it didn't give. There's so far in our galaxy, we have not discovered any form of life. Even if there is life out there in the universe, and there could be so much life out in the universe, there will always be more planets that cannot contain or sustain life or create life. You're just the balances on one side of the scale, just in by sheer statistics alone. I never will see order being on the same footing as chaos or above chaos. I just couldn't possibly. Human beings themselves are unpredictable. One day you could be fine, and then the next day you could literally have a tumor in your brain that can cause you to go commit mass genocide or something like that. Like the amount of factors that could literally be interjected into your life on an everyday basis is astronomical. Uh, I mean, just to
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that's the thing. That's the thing as well. People tend to say like steer away from chaos. They tend to steer away from the yin side of things, whereas that's actually very unhealthy, and that's probably why so many people have an unhealthy attitude towards death. Not to say that we should be skipping and dancing to our graves, but to say that as a society we fear death. As a society, we don't talk about death. It's a taboo subject.
Yeah.
So a healthier, again, this is coming with the balance of that yin and yang. If we are taught to understand that life implies death, you don't get life without death. You don't get a beginning without an end. It would form a healthier psyche towards phenomena such as death, disease, pain.
So this is a question I have. You said that you don't get life without death. So are you implying that it's impossible for there to be a life form that will not die? Is that what you're saying?
Eventually, yes, because this universe is going to end.
All right. So what is life?
You don't get a start without a finish.
What is life? How do you define life?
That's a question. So the thing about the yin yang symbol as well is that this is completely relative. So what we're seeing is the yin yang from mainly from a subjective experience, mainly from my own relative experience. So these forces aren't necessarily out there. They're only out there as far as I can see them, as far as I can perceive them. There might be, hypothetically, there could be a star-sized animal out there floating around in space that eats planets. Yeah. So for that creature, the destruction of a planet is great. It's a good source of food. For us, that's relatively awful.
You're
So
watching a lot of anime over there.
I've got some time, dude. I've got some time.
Yeah. But I want to point out something real quick. Because I asked you to define life. What do you mean when you say life? Because in order for us to truly understand what you mean by, in order to have life, you must have death. I need you to define what life is.
Experience, let's say. So when we're talking about yin yang, it's the ability to experience these dualities. Okay. And that often stems from language as well. Language tends to be the thing that creates this world of illusion, let's say.
Okay, so are you saying that a tree is not life? It cannot speak. A tree cannot experience.
A tree can experience, but it can't put labels onto that experience.
So you're saying that trees are conscious?
I don't know if trees are conscious or not. If they are, it's a different type of conscious to what we are.
But you would believe that trees can tell the difference between one thing over the other, because you said experience. Experience is to be able to determine or to be able to differentiate. I can't get that word right now, but be able to tell the difference between one state of being versus the other state of being. You're aware of that. You're aware of what is happening around you. Are trees aware of what is happening around them?
To a certain extent, I would say yes, but I think they also can't, they have no concept of self. So the yin yang only really applies when we can, I'm no expert on this, by the way, this is just what I've been learning as I've been going, but we can only sort of gather what this dualistic reality is when we understand that we are something separate from the universe.
Okay, so what
or
you're
when
basically,
we perceive that we are something.
So what you're basically saying, humans have the ability to project themselves within the future and try to attempt to avoid chaos in preference of order. And that being able to determine the difference between chaos and order is what essentially what you would summarize as life, or being able to experience. Because I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between.
Well, if I'm being,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, if I'm being really picky, I wouldn't say that humans tend to veer away from chaos and towards order. I would say they tend to veer away from suffering and towards love.
And the only way
because
to do that
we can
is
often.
Yeah, the only way to do that is to try to avoid chaos.
No.
You don't think so?
No, because through chaos, again, chaos has a very negative stigma, but it's through chaos that a new order is created. It's only through chaos can we rebuild something. So when we see people rioting for civil rights, rioting for human rights, equality, it's only through that chaos that women were given the vote and people were given equality. So I would say it's through chaos that a new order is.
Well, where did the original order come from? Like, why were men able to vote? What chaos did they have to go through in order to vote?
Oh, dude, we're going back centuries.
Yeah, but
like
eventually,
all sorts of chaos.
Eventually, it has to be an original order. But let's not get bogged down there. I'm trying to focus in on one particular.
No, because you're coming on to something that's actually really cool about the Yin Yang symbol.
Okay.
So the Yin Yang symbol is, as far as I can see it, it's based into four main parts. So we've got the circle, which is what I'm going to come into in a second. It's called Wuji. And then we've got the yin yang. We've been talking about these two separate forces. Then you've got the two dots in there. That's another part, which implies that one holds the seed of the other. So, and then we've got that line in the middle, which is how to integrate them in yourself. That's called Wu Wei. Now, the circle, just the circle by itself without the yin yang, is called Wuji, which is the primal state of being, which is, or the darkness within darkness, or just the void.
Okay.
Are you
All
still
right.
there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope that when I play this back, everybody can hear you. Because there's a lot of choppiness going on. But so far, I think you're coming across good enough for people to understand the conversation.
Cool.
All right. So I get what you're saying, but I don't want to move away from. You made a statement that in order to have life, you have to have death, right? And the reason I bring that up, so we could just get into it, is what is life? When I ask what is life, is not life just matter rearranged uh, into a certain complex system that arises that brings about awareness or consciousness? All right. So, but there is really no fundamental difference
Yeah.
between
So
the
yes, it did.
Okay, so what's the fundamental difference between the matter that makes up a human being and the matter that makes up a table or a sun? What is the fundamental difference between those type of matter?
There is none. There is no difference. So what yin yang essentially is, yin yang, and this is what I find really cool. This is why it goes back to that circle, which stems from the reality that is everything, is through consciousness, through perceiving this this duality, recreate illusion. And as far as my understanding, these are illusions.
All right, say that apart again. I think I'm losing you a little bit over there as far as you're doing a little choppiness. So try to repeat that again.
Yeah, sorry. Where did you lose me? Or should I just say the whole thing again?
Yeah, just say the whole thing again to make sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, man. If this isn't working, we can try again another time. But
yeah,
I'll repeat the whole thing again. So yin yang is essentially an illusion. Duality is essentially a delusion. So from that original state, that wuji that I spoke about, where it's just a circle without the yin yang, that is the totality of everything. That is absolute reality, as far as I can tell. Nothingness, but at the same time containing everything. And from that, we have our conscious experience. So this conscious experience gives the illusion of self and other, the illusion of life and death. But ultimately, these things are just reality, just illusions. They're not real.
Okay, so there is no such thing as death.
There is no such thing as death, no.
Okay, I would definitely agree with you there, because if matter can neither be created nor destroyed, there is no fundamental difference between the matter that makes up us and the matter that makes up the rest of the universe. So if it can never be created nor destroyed, we can only be transformed. So who's to really say when life and death actually takes place? It's just as we perceive it, or concepts that we've created in order to represent one transition of matter to another state. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty deep, and
that's exactly it, and that's what.
Go ahead.
That's what this duality ultimately leads to. It's that these dualities are completely illusionary, but so through our experience, ontologically, we can say that these dualities exist. We know that we have got left and a right. We know that we've got you and me, and we're clearly separate things, and what have you. But
yeah,
those are just the explicit dualities. Implicitly, there are no dualities. There is just oneness. There is just, like you said when we were speaking, there is something happening, and that is the overarching absolute reality, which could be perceived as this is where people will say that absolute reality is God, or it is love. It is just an absolute something.
Well, with that being said, I would assume that the Yin Yang symbol would look a whole lot different. I would envision that the Yin Yang sign would be something sort of a circle, which represents reality, and within that circle would be a smaller circle, which represents the illusion of reality. And whereas perception falls within that illusion, but we could never really see past that illusion to the real whole of reality where everything is actually falls in. But we could divide the yin yang sound up into a multitude of factors. We could put chaos, we could put order, we could put experience, we could put the illusion, we could put that which doesn't experience. So we could make the yin yang sign so much more complicated and encompass pretty much every facet of existence as we know it. But I really don't like the whole duality thing. I don't like the chaos and the order aspect of it, because some things are neutral. Some things are not chaotic and some things are not order. Some things lack any characteristic at all. Like, what is oxygen? Is it chaotic or is it order? But go ahead.
Well, we could say that, yeah, I mean, in that sense, you have to just say what you're comparing it to. So is this yin or yang? Well, it depends what you're comparing it to, and depends on what aspect you're looking at. So if it's to do with its size compared with this house, you can say that this is very yin. So when we're looking at yin yang, we're always looking at it in comparison to what. So within most cases, the dualities are pretty self-explanatory. But then if you're going to grab one, you're going to have to say, well, what are we comparing this to?
Yeah, because that's the next place I was going to go. One man's chaos may be another man's order, and then a third person may look at both of those situations and not feel one way or the other towards it. I don't feel like yin yang encompasses that third party. It doesn't encompass that neutral position between chaos and order, that state of not being chaos or not being order. And I feel like that's where the yin yang lacks, honestly.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. So again, so I said that there are four main components to this, as far as I can tell. There's the main circle, we've got the yin yang, the two dots, and then there's the line in the middle, which is called wu wei, which represents effortless action, right? Or doing without doing. And
why is it so small?
Or a flow.
Why is that line so small?
It's just a little one, yeah. Well, it's the line between those two forces. It's the middle way, which I think that's actually a Buddhist term, the middle way.
But everything with the yin yang is
what you're trying to do is
Isn't everything in the yin yang in proportion?
No, like it's always in change.
Okay, but the line is...
No, it's always in change.
Okay, I've never seen a yin yang sign where the line is the biggest part of the actual yin yang sign.
Oh, it's not the biggest part. That's just part of the symbol. So
it should be, though.
The middle part.
It should be.
It depends on what perspective you're looking at it from.
Yeah, but
why should
most of existence doesn't have a perspective. Most of the matter in the universe is not conscious to see one perception or the other. It's completely neutral. It doesn't have an opinion. See, this is why I feel like this symbol lacks.
Right, but I'm struggling.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, remember, this symbol is a completely relative one. So, what we're experiencing? Okay. So, can you say that one more time?
Yeah. Most of
this right.
Okay, yeah. Most of the universe is neutral, and the reason I bring this up because the yin yang, in my opinion, is supposed to represent proportionality. That's why you have the light side and the dark side, and they interact with each other a certain way. And then you have the seeds of chaos and order within each other. It's supposed to represent a balance between chaos and order. And when you start to talk about a balance, you're talking about proportionality. And if we're talking about proportionality, then I asked you, well, where is the representation of the neutral position between chaos and order? And you said it's the line between. And if there is a line between, and we're talking about proportionality, that line in between should be much, much bigger than both sides, because most of the universe is encompassed by matter who doesn't have an opinion one way or the other. If that makes sense.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. Yeah. So the yin yang symbol is not about proportions, it's about change. So all it is, although symbolically the symbols are the same size, that's all that's trying to do is show you that these forces are constantly either getting bigger or smaller. So life, we can say as we know it, life is expanding. With the concept of AI developing, we don't know what life is going to turn into. Life could be potentially something that encompasses the entire universe. We could make it something that is astronomically bigger than we could ever envision. We could make supercomputers the size of planets. We don't know what the limits of life really is, limits of awareness is. So all this is symbolizing is that there's different quantities of these sort of concepts.
Okay, so technically, the yin yang sign could look like nothing but a black circle with a small dot of white, and you can still call that a yin yang sign.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. With that being said, what is the point of a yin yang sign? If it could literally look like anything, it could represent any form of that spectrum of evolution. I really feel like the sign is irrelevant. Like, it doesn't truly give you a representation of reality. It's just one of those things that people give more meaning to that I feel like it's unnecessary.
Well, no, because you're just looking at it as matter versus or consciousness versus matter, or existence versus non-existence, whereas it encompasses so many more different things. So again, when we're saying things from a relative point of view, it describes our entire existence.
Yeah, like
including.
Yeah, like
go on.
Without perception, there is no yin yang. There is no chaos and order. The universe doesn't deal in chaos and order. It doesn't deal with push pull. It doesn't deal in negative and positive. The universe just is. It is what it is, and we have to decide from conscious minds how we perceive the universe to be. But if you take away all consciousness and minds to observe the universe, there's no way you can possibly get yin yang. It's completely human subjective.
The duality is then gone, completely gone.
Yes.
There might as well not be a universe.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is a really cool concept. So it's, yeah, I guess you could say from an egotistical point of view, they are in balance because we are creating this entire universe.
In a way, yes. I mean, and the reason I would definitely agree with you is because the universe as we see it is not the way the universe actually truly is. We each see the universe with a slight bias, and the color spectrums that we see is not truly the wide variety of colors that exist. We're limited, very limited. So the reality that we perceive is our own making, it's our own concoction of our limitations and what nature has allowed us to be able to perceive. There are animals who can see things that we can't. Totally different world to them. So I definitely agree with you there.
That's exactly it, and that's what yin yang is also. That's what it's showing us. So it's from this absolute reality, from that circle, from that original void, that nothingness within nothingness, the mystery within mysteries, from that original circle, one creates two, two creates three, and three creates everything. That's one of the passages from the Tao Te Ching, the Chinese philosophy book.
Okay, you lost me there. I don't see how the yin yang applies to the concept that we were just speaking about. You have to run that by me again because I'm not connecting those two.
Yeah. So we have the absolute reality, which is the thing that is beyond our perceived experience, the universe without self.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have self, which is me and you. Hello. And that self then creates duality. it then creates this idea of me and everything else.
So what you're basically
And that's
admitting
yin yang.
is without humans, the yin yang sign is BS, and the yin yang sign only matters because we give it meaning, correct?
Yeah, I start. It's only, yeah, it's totally relative, completely relative.
Cool, cool. Well, I think that's a good place to stop, right? I really do. If there's anything you would like to add before we wrap this up, if not, please tell people where they can find you. Anything you want to promote, be good.
Might be good. Well, it might be a good place to stop because my internet's also
yeah. I think we'll have to try this
giving me
again.
some troubles, it seems.
Yeah, I think the conversation would be a lot more fluent if the internet was. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to ask you though. I mean, there's so much more that we can go over with this symbol. You know, like what constitutes something being yin, what constitutes something being yang. You know, even though they are ultimately arbitrary, it's always fun to go over to sort of gain a different perspective on things. But yeah, no, it's been fun.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely, let's try this again at another point. Maybe we can either pick another symbol or we can talk about symbolism in general. I would love to do that. And hopefully we can get a better internet connection. I feel like the conversation is hurting because the internet connection is kind of breaking up the conversation a little. But I think they heard enough for us to actually, for them to take away what we got from the conversation. Please tell people where they can find you again or anything you want to promote or where they can contact you.
Yeah, Happy Russell Journey, YouTube. Just type in the Happy Russell Journey. If you want to take it a step further, you can type in the Happy Russell Journey with Javier, and you can talk. And that's our conversation on nihilism. You should check that one out.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
we went deep on that one. But this brother is always searching for truth, always seeking what he can find and trying to get to the truth and reality of all things that we discuss in this world. So I say go over and check him out. Definitely subscribe to his channel. Go show some support. That's what this is here for. And get involved with the conversation. Definitely, I'm pretty sure if they ask you questions or write comments under your videos, I'm pretty sure you'll do your best to try to respond and engage in some of these conversations. Thank y'all so much for watching. And please, before you go, you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't click out this video without subscribing, hit that like button. And as always, if you really want to support the show even further, go to patreon.com/the Javier Show. With that being said, peace and glory. We are out.
1 in a million to 1 villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen, out in the melting the ceiling.